A nearly complete and utter history of everything. Ladies and gentlemen, your host, Angus Deaton.
Good evening and welcome to part 2 of the nearly complete and utter history of everything, a programme first broadcast 1,000 years ago today, back in the year 2000. Who could have guessed then that the secret of eternal life would be eating junk foods containing so many preservatives that it was impossible to die? All hail pot noodle. So it is that I'm still here, working at the BBC, which is still funded by the annual licence fee of a mere £1.5 million. Pensioners, of course, pay £10 less. And so to the nearly complete and utter history of everything, part 2, a show that is totally factually accurate, based as it is on the autobiography of Jeffrey Archer, a much-loved and respected figure of the 20th century. Archer's book tells how he wrote, directed and starred in Citizen Kane, was the first man to walk on the moon, recorded the album Sgt. Pepper, became the youngest heavyweight champion of the world, invented the internet and didn't sleep with a prostitute to whom he paid £2,000. As you all know, to celebrate the year 3000, we built an intergalactic space and time complex which allows visitors to go anywhere in the universe at any time in history. While in the year 2000, they built a giant upside-down wok, which they called the Millennium Dome. And in the 10 years it was open, it welcomed through the turnstiles almost 6 visitors. But what, you may wonder, did it contain? And you'd be right to wonder.
Oh, dear. Wow, this tired old ovum certainly needs a cup of tea.
Oh, yes. Fiver. Nothing like it since the dawn of time, as we say here in the Millennium Dome.
You're never off your feet when you're an ovum, are you? The job of an ovum is to hand out exciting maps to all the rides and also free hamburger vouchers for anyone who will please visit the Learning Zone or the Faith Zone or the Town Pageant. There's no one in there at all.
See, the trouble is, I think most people wanted it to be more like Disneyland.
A simple spinning teacup ride and everyone would have been happy, wouldn't they?
Where's this hard hat area, then?
Oh, it's the dome, the entire dome.
Oh, right.
Yes. It's not finished yet, you see. Not finished at all.
The Millennium Dome.
Yes.
Millennium.
Yeah.
Ah, when is that, then?
Do you know, I'm not exactly sure, but I'll tell you something. I am not going to look at it directly with my bare eyes. No, oh no.
Look at it through a bucket of water.
Yes, yes. I hope it isn't cloudy. It'd be awful to miss it again. Yes. Oh, yes.
I'll be back for you in a couple of minutes.
Thank you very much. It gives me a chance to work on my speech.
What? What? What?
She's not wearing a hard hat.
Oh. Oh, goodness. I know exactly who that is.
that?
It's the thinking man's tart.
Carol Doberman.
Yes! Come on, come with me. What? Hello. Would you mind if we just sat amongst you? Excuse our attire.
Yes, we're eggs.
Yes, we're eggs. So, could you put us right? Are you who you think you are? Would I be right in saying you're a tart?
Dear.
Oh, you know who she is.
Yeah, come on, Jean, come on, don't be shy. Am I warm with tart?
Joan Tart.
Yeah, Joan Tart.
Bakewell. My name is Joan Bakewell.
Oh.
None the wiser.
Oh, yes. That's you. That's definitely you. Yes.
Are you here for the Millennium Dome?
Yes, I'm making a speech.
Oh, she's the one. She's the speech.
She's
the clever one.
the specky four eyes.
Let me test you on that.
Yes,
No.
Oh, right. Well, Jean, what actually are your key moments of the millennium?
Well, because we've got ours. We've got a list, haven't we?
Yes, we have. We've made a list.
All right. If I tell you, will you let me get on?
Oh, we've got it back in the womb in a couple of minutes.
Yes, come on. Hurry up.
Right, well, my chief moments of the millennium are Magna Carta,
Yes.
the Reformation,
Yes,
the
everyone
Renaissance.
says that.
Oh, we'll do our list.
Oh, let's do our
Quickly,
list.
quickly,
Yes,
because
it's
we've
much
got to
quicker. We start at the beginning of time, 200 years ago, with the Big Bang, stroke God.
Yes.
Yes.
And then ice, walking with dinosaurs.
Yes. Oh, I miss them so much, don't you? Cleopatra.
Yes.
Of course.
I, Claudius, Ben-Hur.
Yes. Now, didn't Jesus come around the time of Ben-Hur?
I don't know. Was he before Henry VIII?
I am, Henry VIII, I am.
His 9 lives.
Yes,
Randy
yes.
Beggar, haven't we?
Yes, and that led us straight to, of course, the lovely bonnets of Mr. Darcy.
Jane Austrian period.
Yes, yes. And then we went on to the Shakespearean period, didn't we? I thee thus get hence.
Get hence.
Yes.
Food, glorious food, Mr. Bumble.
Yes. That was the Dickensian period.
Yes, that's still on in the West End.
Is
It's
it?
lasted, hasn't it?
Yes. And we went straight to the Forsyte Saga.
Edward and Mrs. Simpson.
Caprice.
Teletubbies.
Robbie Williams.
How to be a millionaire.
And there we are, bang up to date, Jean.
You know, that is a very concise chronicle as far as it goes, but perhaps I could make a comment or two?
Yes.
I mean, the Big Bang happened millions of years ago, not 200 years.
By whose watch?
And, you know, I'm surprised you've missed one of the most important and significant influences on popular culture today.
Oh.
I mean, for lyricism, for its combination of music, movement, symbolism, I refer to the phenomenon known as steps. My boot-scooting baby is driving me crazy. My obsession for a western, my dance floor date, my rodeo, my cowboy guy from head to toe. Gonna make you mine, gonna get in line. 5, 6, 7, 8.
In the latter part of the 20th century, they had television to amuse themselves, although this was wall-to-wall garbage, apart from 30 minutes a week when an extraordinarily high-quality programme called Have I Got News For You was broadcast. Presented apparently by Jeffrey Archer. Records are patchy as to how people entertained themselves in the period before the advent of television, with the exception of this one surviving piece of television from that period.
Very possible supper.
I fear our rough friend, Jack Winter, has arrived early this year.
Yes, these long, dark evenings do drag a little. What time is it, Colonel?
Not quite 7.
5 hours till bedtime. What shall we do to pass the time?
Anybody for a game of cards?
It's an excellent idea, Colonel. Only we played cards for 5 hours last night, if you remember.
Until Mrs. Richards here threw the cards in the fire with the words, "If anyone deals me another playing card, I'll stick it up their arse."
I must confess, I did grow a little weary of the game.
Right, perhaps we could read a little.
Yes, only we read for 5 hours the previous night, if I recall. Until Mrs. Richards here said, if anyone else gives me another book, I'll stick it right up there.
I know what she said. It was I who gave her War and Peace, if you remember.
I apologise, Mr. Parsons. I'm afraid I was quite beside myself.
No, we'll just make sparkling conversation. Good conversation is an art, don't you think, Mr. Parsons?
Dunno.
Right. Well, we'll just, sit in silence.
Lady Butterworth, perhaps you'd like to entertain us with a tune on the piano.
Well, there is a pretty little tune I have been working on, as it happens. Don't I want what I really, really want? I'll tell you what I want. What I really, really want. I'll tell you what I
I've got a better idea. Why don't we, just sit here in silence?
What time is it now, Colonel?
7.
7? Goodness, doesn't time fly?
Perhaps if we were to slouch together on the sofa and stare at that corner of the room, that might occupy us for a while.
Well, it's worth a try.
There's something missing, Sergeant.
somehow.
Yeah, I have just thought of an amusing parlour game.
Oh, what?
Someone makes an animal noise, and everyone else has to guess what it is.
With all due respect, Colonel, that sounds extremely dull. I'm sure we can think of a more interesting game than that.
Cow?
Very good, Mr. Parsons. Your go.
Bah.
A sheep.
Excellent, Mrs. Richards. Your go. Sounds a bit like a camel.
A giraffe, a giraffe.
Oh, we give up.
Oh. So is she.
How tragic.
Yes, we'll never know what the animal was now.
Well, at least we passed some time.
Look, there is something we haven't tried yet.
What?
Sex. Sex. We sit here night after night, bored out of our bloody brains. Why don't we just partner up and shag each other senseless?
Lady Butterworth. What a good idea. I'll partner up with Mr. Parsons here.
No, I'll take Mr. Parsons. Thank you. Oh, at last. An enjoyable evening.
Well done.
Well, that was fun. What's the time, Colonel?
3 minutes past 7.
Once the privilege of the upper classes, by the end of the 20th century, travel was considered a right for all. People from this country flew to all points of the globe, eager to discover the exotic experience of how English food tastes abroad. But in the early days of exploration and discovery, the incentives were even greater.
Rally!
Great!
Hi, haven't seen you for a while.
I know, yeah, I've been to America. Have you been?
Not yet, no.
Ah, no, you should go. Yeah. It's so unspoiled.
Really, because I just come back from the West Indies.
Oh, I mean, ruined.
Yeah, full of Spaniards.
Yeah, terrible.
You remember that little anchorage in Barbados? It's a harbour now.
No.
Yeah, just totally built up, you know, these huge, great two-storey buildings everywhere.
Yeah, but it used to be just an amazing swamp. I mean, so spoiled.
Yeah, and everywhere you go now, it's just a rip-off. You know, in the old days, it was like, you know, barter, you know. They give you fruit, you'd give them cloth.
They give you malaria, you give them syphilis. Exactly. No, you should try America, because not at all built up. It's a completely different culture. And the natives out there are just so easy to massacre.
Really?
Yeah, and of course they got these.
Wow, what's that?
This is a tobacco.
No, isn't it a potato?
No, potato you roll up in paper and smoke. So I've got that the right way around, or people for the rest of the time could be getting confused and sounding like complete idiots. No, that's a tobacco. And you'd love it in America. You really ought to try it. I bumped into a couple of guys there from Cadiz, and they just got back from Mexico.
Mexico's just been ruined. I mean, everywhere you go, it's just explorers.
What are the natives like?
Dead, mostly.
Easy to massacre?
Yeah, too easy. That's the trouble. Yeah, Europe and the Americas, been there, done that. Next year, I'm thinking of exploring in the Far East.
Marco Polo says it's amazing. I mean, incredibly ancient culture, fantastic architecture, and the thing is, you can buy things out there so cheap. Take Singapore, for instance.
What?
No, you could take Singapore, for instance, for virtually nothing. And there are loads of islands out there as well that are practically uninhabited.
Or maybe we should colonise some of the uninhabited ones.
Yeah, then we'd have somewhere we can beat at cricket.
Hi, Magellan.
Hi. How you doing?
Just got back from Canada.
Boring.
Looking for the Northwest Passage.
The Northwest Passage, oh, it's so commercial now.
These are all the kind of explorers where the slightest thing goes wrong and they're off whining to the purser. Any slight little thing, you know. Single crew member dies of scurvy and they want their money back.
Right, so, Raleigh, you definitely recommend America, then?
For the explorer on the budget, the New World is hard to beat. The climate, the scenery, the food, all add up to a really great voyage for you and your crew. A 6-month trip on a standard galleon will give your officers full board, crewmen half board, and prisoners lashed to a board and towed behind for just under 35 groats. Once there, you can book extras such as canoeing, catching malaria, or having your scalp removed by skilled locals. Here in the year 3000, having discovered the secret of eternal life, the so-called Queen Mother gene, there isn't much call for medical facilities, but hard now as it is to imagine, there was once something called the National Health Service, which allowed people needing treatment to gain immediate access to a waiting list. Naturally, this cost a lot of money, mainly due to the huge salaries paid to nurses, which they spent on speedboats, champagne and exotic holidays. But what about the days before the NHS?
Hi, it's Mr. Baker, isn't it?
Hello, Doctor.
And I'm operating on you tomorrow morning, aren't I? Good. What do you do for a living, Mr. Baker?
I am a baker.
Of course, yes. We're all named after our jobs, aren't we? Yes.
You'll be Mr. Doctor then.
No such luck, I'm afraid. My name's Mr. Barber. How do you do? The doctoring's just a sideline. I had a few hours spare a week, and I've got all the sharp things, so it seemed logical. So after the operation, I can give you a bit of a trim if you like. Goatees are back in.
Oh, no, thank you, Barber.
Well, if you change your mind, just yell. Come to think of it, you'd probably be yelling anyway, so forget it. Well, I just wanted a little chat, put your mind at rest, make sure you know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow.
I'm going to die, aren't I?
We're all going to die, Mr. Baker. Obviously, some of us a lot sooner and in considerably more agony than others. But in the end, it's the hot fires of hell for all of us, isn't it? Sorry, where was I? Oh, yes, putting your mind at rest. Well, I've had a look at your chart, and things aren't as bad as they might be.
No?
No, because the moon is in Jupiter, which is a good thing. Now, I understand you've been suffering from persistent headaches. So what we're going to do tomorrow is simply cut a large hole in the top of your head with a saw type thing. And then flip out the disc of bone with a little jemmy and simply let the headaches out.
And that's your treatment for headaches, is that you're going to cut off the top of my head?
Oh, good heavens, no. What do you think this is, the Dark Ages? I shall then apply a warmed Quicksilver brain balm.
Meaning?
I'm going to pour hot mercury into the hole in your head. Give it a bit of a stir with my brain spoon here. And tidy you up, seal up the hole with some tar, and Bob's your uncle. Any questions?
Well, it hurt.
I'd expect you to feel a little bit of discomfort in the early stages.
Right.
Followed by blinding agony shortly after. Good. Well, that's the spirit. And don't worry, it really is a very routine procedure.
And it works?
Well, let's not confuse routine with success. See you tomorrow.
Just as time is divided into BC and AD, British comedy films are divided into before Hugh Grant and after Hugh Grant. Before Hugh, British comedies were about as popular abroad as British beef. And incidentally, what better news to kick off the year 3000 than today's announcement that the French government will be lifting its beef ban sometime next year. Well, when exactly was the first British comedy? The origins of the genre, it seems, are as elusive and surprising as the end of this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this, the first full-length moving picture ever made in Great Britain. You, Monty, enter, disguised as a humble brush seller, espied by Lily, who, not surprisingly, mistakes you for a humble brush seller. She fights you off with a broom until she actually realizes that you are her beloved Clifford.
Have you worked with a broom before, my dear?
No.
I think we might have a bit of a problem here, Jack. I I'm not desperately happy about being beaten off with a broom by a first-timer who's never beaten anyone off with a broom before.
Right.
I'm sorry, Jack. I've just seen it go too badly wrong in the past. Could you perhaps beat me off with, a kitchen sponge?
Would that actually happen, though, Monty? In real life?
Yes, it would.
Right? You, Lily, then realise this is, in fact, your beloved Clifford, and you fall on each other, kissing and canoodling.
I can't canoodle with another man, no. My fiancé, Jeremy, is very much against that sort of thing.
Oh, for God's sake! Right. We'll give you a fan, and you can hide behind it and pretend to be kissing.
No real kissing.
You will make it look real, Monty.
Should I do some of my famous fist shaking?
Oh, yes, you must, Monty, darling.
Do you mind not?
Goes down terribly well.
No. You, in a display of searing, thwarted passion, throw yourself on the ground. Now you, Lily, are in the kitchen. In retaliation against your mother, you are slamming her head repeatedly in the oven.
Throw myself bodily to the ground.
Slam my head repeatedly in the oven, darling.
Then, Lily, you realise what you've been doing and clutch your mother's head to your bosom in regret.
No, I can't clutch anyone to my bosom. No, my fiancé, Jeremy, is very much against that sort of thing.
I think my character would slink away rather than throw himself bodily anywhere.
No, you see, he wouldn't.
And Jack, I'm not happy about being slammed in another door. I've never
let me persuade you about the slink.
I'm not listening. I'm not listening!
Space is often described as the final frontier, although anyone who's been to East Anglia may want to argue with that. It's hard to imagine now how terrifying it was to explore planet Earth, or Greater Tokyo as we now know it, back when it was an unmapped mystery. Of all the new lands, the most disputed discovery was America. Who did get there first?
One man on a voyage that will change the story of mankind.
We have arrived. The new world. We claim this land in the name of Spain.
Terrific. Now my shoes are all muddy.
Colombo, I thought I sent you to the New World.
While I was over there, I found something you might want to take a squint at.
What kind of a person would wear a hat like that?
Pervert with a thing for cows?
I think Scandinavian.
Now, you listen to me and you listen to me good. You keep your mouth shut. You want the history books to say that the Spanish slaughtered all the natives and the Vikings got there first anyways? Huh? Is that what you want?
No, sire.
Take your sorry ass back to the New World and start colonizing. Hey! Throw in a little religion. Get the Pope off my back. Capiche?
Okay, terrific. Yeah. Whatever you say. Obviously, by the way the 15,922 bodies were arranged.
Mr. Colombo, I have a message for you. I don't think you're gonna like it.
What's the matter?
Well, the king has officially named the New World.
That's great. So officially it's known as Columbio.
No. It is called America.
What?
After Amerigo Vespucci, the Italian explorer.
But I'm senior to him. He's been promoted over my head. What am I gonna tell my wife?
Tell my wife.
Wait a minute.
Perhaps the greatest advance that mankind has made in the last 1,000 years has been the conquering of the aging process. Thanks surprisingly to GM foods, humans now have strong teeth and bones, healthy hearts, and often grow to a height of nearly 3'6". But back in the year 2000, all senior citizens had to look forward to was sheltered housing, memories, and in one case, a #1 record. For the rest, life was full of reminiscing.
My name is Dikos. Welcome to the end of the millennium. 1,000 years. That's 365,040 days. And I'm still waiting for my new hip. This is a new place. They call it sheltered housing for the elderly. That's why I'm here. Otherwise, I'd be somewhere else. We have a lot of fun here, though. The other night we played strip poker. But old people wear a lot of clothes. By the time we got old Mrs. Patterson down to her vest, they were serving breakfast. Thank God for that, because there are some things that should not be seen. We all have a panic button in case we panic. You just hit it, and that nice Dr. Barrett from Casualty comes rushing in. Dikos, what's the matter with you? You all right? You know how far this place is from Holby City? They've made some wonderful advances in medicine in the last 100 years. My friend Halbert, 75 years old, and they give him a pig's heart. It's transformed his life, you know. He's got a new job in the south of France, digging for truffles. He's a very, very, very busy man. He's always going to market or going wee, wee, wee all the way home. He's going for that operation next week. I'll wait, I'm old. Because! I'll say that again. Because! People live much longer now. In the old days, people had a very short life expectancy. My friend Joseph down the corridor, his father died when he was only 32. A building fell on him. He wasn't expecting that. You know what? Pretty soon, there will be only old people left. And the world will be a wiser and a better place. That's right. There'll be no crime. No hit and run. There'd be hit and just top butter off. There'd be no more wars because everyone would remember what happened in the last one. That's right, Vera Lynn. What did she mean? We'll meet again. I never met her the first time. I remember the war. Rationing. It was tough. You were only allowed 3 girlfriends a week. They were throwing themselves at us. Never mind the Germans. I was fighting off girls for 4 years. D-Day. I remember that. Decos Day. I was invaded by a battalion of land girls. I surrendered, of course. After 48 hours. 3 weeks later, I was walking again. I tried to keep in touch with the new technology. People told me to go shopping on the internet, but it's very slow. I ordered a pint of milk on www.pintofmilk.com. By the time it arrived 3 days later, my cup of tea was stone bloody cold. I have a new hearing aid. It's very powerful, you know. It has a new Pentium 3600 megahertz processor in it. Last night I was woken up by a man farting in Belgium. It was bloody loud. I thought it was the head of the world. I don't know what all this fuss is about genitally modified food. I have been eating a lot of genitally modified tomatoes because they have a special gene to keep them looking firm and young. And I'm thinking, if it works for a tomato, why can't it work for me? I'll tell you something, if they could put one of them genital genes into me and Mrs. Williams, boy, there'd be some millennium fireworks in this place. I don't want to be pessimistic or anything, but I don't think I'm going to make it to the next millennium. But it's been a good life. I was married to Claudine. Why, she was a fine woman. A big woman. She always wore a huge green dress. She was where they got the idea for bouncy castles. When we were first married, I would play on her all day. She always made me take my shoes and socks off. And charged me 6 pence for 10 minutes. No wonder I was always broke. I did everything for that woman. Paid for the entire house to be renovated. Then she ran off with the builder. That's how she repaid me. When she left me, all the windows fell out. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's so bloody sad.
Are you all right, Deacus? What can I do for you?
Dr. Mike! Could you get me a Guinness from the fridge?
Oh, that was close.
No, that's what I call service. Cheers.
So what does the future hold? Well, thanks to Laboratoire Garnier, 48% shinier hair. Because we're worth it. Sport fans are looking forward to soccer's first Galactic Cup in 3006. Earth is in a tough group and must play Jupiter, Alpha Centauri, and, of course, Germany. Matches will involve 2 legs, or in the case of Alpha Centaurans, 16 legs. So as we embark on the year 3000, there are high hopes for a better future. The IRA are promising to decommission their weapons at any moment. Mohammed El Fayed's passport is apparently in the post, and this autumn sees the very final series of The Last of the Summer Wine. Until the next episode of the nearly complete and utter history of everything, 1,000 years from now, good night.